Alright guys, another weekend up at JMU means another weekend I get to test out the A7S III, and for this weekend I wanted to take the A7S III and compare it head to head with the A7R III and see if it can hold up in photography. So I'm going to start this video by saying that I'm not trying to say can the A7S III replace the A7R III, or should I get the A7S III over the A7R III for photography. Definitely don't do that. The main thing I really wanted to get out of this comparison was to see if the photos that the A7S III produces are good enough for me to print or to put on Instagram, and are they comparable to the A7R III. Having a dedicated photo camera and a dedicated video camera has its pros and cons, but sometimes you just don't want to carry both cameras, or sometimes you might miss that shot if you have to go and get the photography camera out. So I just wanted to see if, maybe you're primarily a video shooter, if you could just whip out the A7S III, take those photos, and if they'll be usable. So for those of you that don't want to wait till the end of the video to get the answer is yes. The photos that the A7S III takes are perfectly fine for Instagram or for anything web-based really. And the photos that it takes might not even really be that distinguishable compared to the R3, especially on stuff like Instagram. Now, there are going to be instances where you are going to want to choose that photography camera option, and those are if you're doing larger scale prints. From my research, the A7S III can probably handle A2 and A3 prints, and I've actually sent out some of the photos that I took for this video out to get printed, so be on the lookout for a video for that, and we can compare those then. But if you want to do larger scale prints, you're going to want that higher megapixel count, so go with the photography camera option. The next instance would be if you're doing stuff like wildlife photography or sports photography, anything live action where you might need to crop for content. You're going to want that higher megapixel count, and the A7S III with a 12 megapixel sensor, you can only really crop to center stuff. And finally, the last thing where I would choose a dedicated photography camera is if I'm doing anything commercial where the client really wants high-end stuff, where if you're doing like product photography and you really need that high resolution, high megapixel count to get that high detail, you're going to want to go with a better option. So yeah, I'm going to show you the process I took to get these comparison photos. I was a one-man team for this. I used one tripod, I used one lens between two cameras, so the lighting might change in between them. I'm pretty sure I talk about that in the video, but yeah, here we go. Alright, so this weekend I'm actually up at JMU again, so I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to hit up a spot that's actually one of the most photographed spots in Virginia, and that's Wilson Hall on the JMU quad. I thought this would be a good point where we can get some architecture type shots, maybe some landscape type shots, and compare the two between the A7S III and the A7R III. And I'm actually illegally parked in JMU. If you know anything about JMU, or if you've been there, you know that they're super crazy about parking, so hopefully I don't get a ticket, but I mean, what are they gonna do? Put a hold on my account? Alright, so I actually just saw parking services walking around, so hopefully I get lucky and they've already gone through Gray Street parking, but they're here, so I'm probably gonna get a ticket. But look at this view. I'm taking pictures of that. Let me know if you guys see some differences between the A7S III and the A7R III. Alright, so I got the A7R III all set up. I'm gonna be using the Sony 70-200 f2.8, and we'll see what we get. Alright, so just wrapped up taking those photos. It was a lot harder than I thought. Actually, it just took more time. It wasn't really that hard, but having to switch the lenses and go back and forth just took a lot of time. So hopefully not a lot of the lighting change while going from one lens to the other, one camera from the other. Headed back to the car. Hope that I don't have a parking ticket. Alright, moment of truth. The car's right there. Let's see if I got this ticket or not. So yeah, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you're only doing stuff for Instagram and delivering it on Instagram or anything social media, you're going to be fine with taking pictures on the A7S III. You probably won't even be able to tell. But if you're doing stuff like heavy crops, or if you're doing a lot of large scale photo prints, you're definitely going to want that higher megapixel count. And also that commercial photography side, if your client really wants those high quality photos, don't use the S3, use a R3 or use a photography camera. It'll be a lot better and you'll be able to crop for that as well if you need to. But alright, that's gonna do it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Drop a like if you did enjoy the video and consider dropping a sub. Hit that post notification bell if you would like to get notified when I post. I try to post videos like this every week. But that's gonna do it for me today. Hope you guys have a great one. Peace! Walking around campus once you graduated. I graduated in 2019. It just feels so weird. It feels like you don't belong but belong at the same time. But it just feels so weird coming back on campus and walking around, seeing all the buildings I used to be in. But yeah, I still love this campus, beautiful campus. If you're going into college, consider JMU. Go Dukes.